Okay, brother and sister, this is on E.G. White, Sister White. Incredible, incredible sister. Praise the Lord for making, also for making blessings out of curses with her health and her life. Uh, okay, in the summer of 18, this is the um, Spirit Prophecy Treasure Chest. Okay, in 1863, uh, the health reform vision was completely, the health reform message was completely given. In June of this year, um, and it came, okay, Mrs. White had been a heavy meat eater and had cared little for the simple, wholesome foods. She had thought she needed meat for strength. It's the world has really, this is a conspiracy, a vegetarian meat eating conspiracy to keep the truth down and to keep people deluded. And meat definitely causes cancer. Her health had been, and see, our digestive system is very long compared to, say, a dog, very short transition time. It's a very long transition time for us. But if you're see, the meat doesn't have fiber, it makes trouble. If you're a pure vegetarian, then you have a good system. Come the doesn't get blocked up and troubled, and so it works right. See, God, and see, the Lord, good Lord, put in the special fibers. There's different type of fibers with different uses, different purposes, and so forth. And we need that for our digestive system, so it works properly, and so the nutrients absorb properly, and everything is in good shape and clean and healthy and everything. Okay, she had been okay. Her health had not been good. In fact, she had fainted several times a week. But in the vision, she had been shown the advantages of a simple and wholesome diet free from stimulating food and flesh meat. She had determined to bring these principles so new to her into practice in her own home, and she had quite a battle. It was at least a couple of days that she couldn't even eat vegetables, and and she became a gardener. The whole thing, amazing, with things like raspberries, the whole thing, and see they were up in a cool area, and so that lends more to heavy foods and these types of things. Okay, if you go to Isaiah 1, you'll see a little bit on the controversy about meat and all that, about meat eating, and they multiplied in the Jewish people, the Jewish leaders multiplied the sacrifices, and it it was so bad. If you read, you got to read the spirit the Desire of Ages, the chapter on the second cleansing. Incredible, incredible. Second cleansing of the temple. Okay, uh, thus we discovered that she had the same battle with appetite that we all have, and she records a similar experience and gained the victory over use of vinegar. Okay. The cheerfulness in adversity. The death of Elder James White, her husband, in 1881 came as a blow to Sister White and to the denomination. He was just 60 years of age, and his death followed closely a few days' illness. Um, uh, let's see. It seemed to be the bereaved messenger of the Lord that she could not go on. How could she pick up her burdens alone? For a time it appeared that she too might lose her hold on life, but she soon took command of herself, determined to press on with the Lord's help, and determined also not to allow that experience which brought such sadness to her heart to cause her to cast a shadow upon those with whom she came in contact. She would be cheerful and pleasant, even though her heart was bleeding. A few years earlier, when in adversity, she had expressed her philosophy of life in these words: "Do you ever see me gloomy, desponding, complaining? I have faith which forbids this." And she goes on here. Uh, okay, Mrs. White, very human. After having met Sister White, under varying circumstances, we discovered that she was very human. She was not, as some have thought, an austere, smileless woman, somewhat removed by position and work from the common people with their joys and sorrows. She was one of us, and she was a homemaker. Okay, um, since Mrs. White's time was much taken up with writing, preaching, and traveling, it was necessary, and traveling at that time was something else, I tell you, on horse and buggy and train. It was necessary to employ responsible domestic help, yet Ellen White did not surrender her position as manager of the household affairs, as mother and hostess. Her diaries revealed that during her time she at home and while traveling, a large part of many days was devoted to writing, yet other activities were not neglected, and including making clothes for her children and so forth. And okay, when Mrs. White took up residence at Elmshaven near St. Helena, California, late in 1900, and there was a sanitarium nearby with all the health principles. She was in advanced years, and she lived 15 more years. Her family and she died at 87. Her family consisted of her office and home helpers, although her time and energies were given over almost entirely to writing and speaking. And she had at least one son that was very, very close to her there and helping. She found relaxation in the activities about the farm and the home. And also she would have visions at night, all these messages at night, and then early in the morning she would rise up. Her light would go on. First she would pray, incredible prayers, and then she would write out all that God had shown her faithfully, and God would help her to write it out too. And then it was she would all the writings would be typed out by the secretaries and so forth, and then they would come back to her in the afternoon, and she would carefully review them, very carefully. And during the last 3 years of her life, less time was devoted to writing, and she was often found reading her Bible, her own books, and our denominational papers. And my mom is 88 now, and praise the Lord, she's studying her Bible every day. Praise the Lord. And I'm going to do a little